David Buss wrote a book called Bad Men. And in that book, there was a study where a bunch of prisoners and ex people who assaulted people saw the videos of women walking down the street, okay? Listen to this. And they asked the guys, which one would you assault? Based on the way that she's walking, which one would you assault? Now, this is not victim blaming people. This is just a very interesting study on how body language and how what you communicate weakness through your body language. And the prisoners and the ex-convicts all converged on the same women. And coincidentally, those women that they converged on were actually assaulted in the past. What that says is that, one, there is such a thing as repeat offenders, right? People who continually attack people who are always on the aggressive. But also there's repeated victims. And unfortunately, the reason why some people are repeat victims isn't because of what they wear, isn't because of what they say. It's literally because of how they move and how they sit and even how they look at you. It's like people who get bullied, right? There is such a thing as a victim who's been bullied going to a completely new school and getting bullied the exact same way. This has more to do with your body language, with your facial expressions, with the way that you're talking. You're communicating weakness and you just don't know it. And those are habits that we developed because we just try to win everyone over. Those are just habits we develop, right? There is a certain body language that is adapted whenever you feel like you've been a victim of something. Your body adapts to it. The reason why that is because back in the days, in prehistoric days, when we didn't have language to communicate our status, the way that people communicate status and even other animals is through their body language. The high status alpha male usually has a completely different body language than the lowest person on the totem pole. And the way that you could tell which one is the alpha and how high or up you are in the hierarchy in a society is by the body language of the person. For example, let's just say you are a prehistoric loser, right? Where you were always bullied by your prehistoric buddies. And so if you know you're always gonna get attacked, how do you walk? You walk with more of closed body language, right? You're always like this because you're afraid of getting attacked. You don't want to attract too much attention, so you talk down. You may not even look at the person in the eye to not be too aggressive, right? And so you got this, but then you have what happens if you feel confident? What happens if you're not afraid of being hit? What happens if you're not afraid of being attacked? You walk around with more open body language, right? You open your legs because you're not afraid of getting your balls bitten, right? You walk out with your chest open, showing you the vulnerable parts, right? Because you're not afraid of getting attacked. But also, you can defend yourself. And this, from the extreme, there is the to this and projecting your voice. And that's a spectrum. And that spectrum, based on how you feel, you're gonna act. And this is all unconscious. Your body knows all the body language, and it gives you what it believes it gives you the body language you believe that you deserve. Because the body language that you have today is a reflection of who you feel you are relative to everyone else. That's why your body language changes when you're around somebody who you bully. But then if you're being bullied, your body language changes. If you're around kids who you control, for example, right, like your child, your body language is more assertive. If you're around somebody who controls you, your body language is different.
Instead of trying to avoid conflict or whining about the injustice of it all, consider an option developed over the centuries by military leaders and strategists to deal with violent and acquisitive neighbors: reverse intimidation. This art of deterrence rests on three basic facts about war and human nature. First, people are more likely to attack you if they see you as weak or vulnerable. Second, they cannot know for sure that you're weak. They depend on the signs you give out through your behavior, both present and past. Third, they are after easy victories, quick and bloodless. That is why they prey on the vulnerable and weak.
If the person walks around with their head down like this and just moving around like this and being all humble, it's gonna let people know that you're somebody who's a low status, you've been taken advantage of. And also what people don't understand is that type of body language encourages people to attack you. Defeated body language and validation seeking body language always leads to people trying you, always leads to people taking advantage of you. So this is why I want to tell you, you got to stop trying to please everyone, because trying to please everyone inadvertently communicates to people that you've been rejected, inadvertently communicates to people that you've been a victim of people's attacks and that you've been defeated. And and just like the rich get rich, the poor get poorer, that tends to attract more people who take advantage of you. I've seen it in my life. I remember I was a very liked kid up until I came to the United States. And when I came to the United States, there was this one kid named Alejandro who was getting bullied by two kids, Eric and Raymond. And then Alejandro told me, and I was like, look, Alejandro, he was like a little Mexican boy. If Eric and Raymond try to pick on you, let me know. I'm gonna beat them up at the same time. What people don't understand is that at that time, I thought I was the strongest kid in the world, people. I'm not even kidding with you. I thought I was Mega Man. Like, I really thought I was Hercules. Anyways, little Alejandro fucking snitched on me and told Eric and Raymond. Long story short, Raymond caught me after school, got to my face. I got to his face. But you know what happened, people? Raymond sucker punched me and ran away. He fucking ran away. And I couldn't catch up to him. My nose was bleeding. And I remember, because I didn't have a chance to fight him, I became scared of him. And then I got bullied from then on, right? For like a few years. But the point was that moment of victimhood lowered my body language and made me scared. And I remember having scared body language, right? And so from there, I decided I wanted to make friends, but I was confused why I wasn't making friends. And so I tried to make people like me, and that actually caused people to push me away. What I should have done was not try to make people like me. That's how you show strength. That even in isolation, you don't need anybody, right? When people know you don't need them, that's when they start needing you. So understand that victims are continual victims, right? Unfortunately. And the reason why you're continually a victim, not because you have some magic circle around you that says attack me, but simply because your body language, your face, your whole demeanor is sending signs of weakness towards other people, right? And by the way, people, we're having 50% off and all of my courses, and 20% off all of my coaching calls using the coupon code BLACK, coupon code Friday, or coupon code HOLIDAY without the S, right? So with those coupon codes, you could get 20% off my courses, emotional mastery, charisma blueprint, and all my previous courses. And you could work with me one-on-one using the coupon code BLACK or Friday or HOLIDAY to get 20% off my coaching call. And it's only December, today in December. So let's continue. So yeah, so it's all in your body language. Why? Because the self is always coming through. You can never hide from people, all right? Now, the next thing is that playing the people who are always trying to make everyone happy makes people not like them back, because they can sense they're trying to gain the validation of anyone. And so your attention as a result isn't valued much. People prefer people who have people prefer, like, for example, it's like dating a woman, right? When a woman dates the asshole, she says, yeah, he's an asshole to everyone but me, right? There's a certain charm to knowing that this person that you're talking to is hard to win over. There's a certain ego boost to knowing that the person that you're with is somebody that he doesn't like some people, and that he's open about it, and that in order for him to or her to like you, you have to win them over. There's something about it, and that's why some people like cats, right? And particularly women, right? Like, most women prefer cats over dogs. And one of the things about dogs is that dogs are won over very easily. Cats are not, right? And so most likely women enjoying cats is a projection, because cats reminds them of them. With dogs remind men of men, right? Because us men We're like that. We're more social, jovial. We're more easily won over. We're more into moving around and exercise, running, and doing crazy shit, right? But cats are more reserved, quiet, risk averse. They're hard to win over. They come to you when they want to, and they don't come to you when you tell them to. And so for women, when they watch that, it reminds them of them. But men, we're more into playing around per se, right? But the point is that a cat cannot be easily won over. And that's why cats are that's why cats are charmed, because the attention that people get from cats is more earned than anything else, right? Now, I have a theory that cat people tend to be more submissive, in my opinion, right? Because cats, you have to put effort to get them to like you. You have to put effort to get their attention. And so there is a certain submissive quality to it, right? That if you're somebody that doesn't feel like if you're somebody that doesn't feel submissive, then you're not gonna own a cat, because you're not gonna fucking demean yourself to get a cat to let you pet a cat that you're paying them, you're giving them money, you're giving them food, and yeah, they don't show any. Never mind. Let's keep going. Next one. Another thing about not stopping trying to please people is that, like I said, you gain needy habits. When you try to please everyone, you gain needy habits, and also you develop people who will know you as someone who is a people pleaser, who tries to win everyone over. And unfortunately, people, that's not a good reputation to have. Unfortunately, people don't respect people pleasers. They don't respect the attention that you give them when they know you're trying to get anyone's validation. In fact, that pushes you away, and that makes people resent. You see, people want to win over people who are hard to please. For example, I had a boss. I keep telling about my boss when I was a social worker, where you had Shalia and you had Georgina. The whole time I thought Georgina was the main boss, right? The main honcho. But Shalia was actually the director of the whole company. But the impression that Shalia gave you was that she was beneath Georgina. And what she did to give me that impression was her body language, her face, her smile, her creepy laughs, right? Where she would laugh at everything you say. She would always be smiling. She would be like, "Hey, Alexis, how are you feeling? How are your chakras today? Have you activated them?" Bitch, the fuck you talking about my goddamn chakras, goddamn it, right? And she was super friendly, and she was, right? But Georgina you could sense there was more distance with her. She cared, but there was more distance. When anybody that made her laugh, you kind of were jealous of them. When she laughed, her laughs were so seldom, or better yet, her laughs were mixed in with moments throughout the day where she looked at you like she was pissed off at you, that when she laughed, it looked like the most beautiful smile in the world, right? And it took me 2 weeks to realize that she wasn't the boss, that she was the supervisor. But I remember, I feared her more. I respected her more, right? I valued her opinion more. So there is something about people pleaser. When you try to win everyone over, you lose everyone. When you try to win everybody over, you lose everyone. And what you want to be able to do is develop the habit of stop trying to win everyone over. Why? When you try to win everyone over, you lower your value. You want to be selective, right? And the way that you become selective is just by not trying to win everyone over, people. It's just that simple. And if you have that habit of trying to win everyone over, this concept is very difficult, because all you know is winning people over. You may not even know you try to win everyone over. You don't even know, because it's just a habit. It's just a habit. So one of the things I tell people is just stop trying. Stop trying to make friends. If you don't believe that you're that, go in the opposite direction and stop trying to make friends. Stop trying to make everyone like you. And notice the behavior that arises from that. And notice people's reactions. You'll notice that your behavior will be fundamentally different than it is today if you stop trying to win everyone over. That concept, you'll notice that there's like a, you know, when you have an itch, it's like trying to scratch an itch. You have like this unconscious itch to please them. Unconscious itch to make them laugh, an unconscious itch to try to impress them. And what I want you to do is not do nothing. Give it a month or two, and you'll notice that people will actually start treating you nicer. It's one of the most ironic things, because by you by you not doing this, you learn to chase people who don't like you back. And that to me is one of the most important things. When you stop trying to win everyone over, one of the worst things you could do as a person socially is try to make friends with people who don't like you. Is trying to win over somebody who hates you. Is trying to win over somebody who already has a certain bias about you. Trying to win over people who fundamentally just don't like you as a person. And you take that personal. And unfortunately, you can't take that personal. Because some people, it's like the way I say this, right? Some people don't like pizza, right? You don't see pizza crying about it. No. Some people don't like pizza because they just don't like pizza. They prefer burgers. Doesn't mean that pizza is bad. No. It just means pizza is not their thing. It's the same thing here. Some people just don't like you. And you take that personal. And you see that as a challenge to try to get them to like you. No. When somebody doesn't like you, give them the space and don't talk to them. And keep it professional, but just don't interact with them. That's how you actually get people to respect you more. Because with some people, you can't go any higher. With some people, they can't like you more because they could never like you they can never like you above a certain point. But with some people, they can hate you even more. There is 100% of potential for them to completely hate your guts. And that's the only way for you to go with some people. And I always say it's all about preventing damage. You may not get people to like you, but what you could definitely do is prevent people from disliking you more than they already dislike you. Now, the next one is that they lose respect for you, and that causes people, and it causes you to push people away, right? And this tends to create a victim mindset in you, where you do feel like a victim, you do feel like you've been hurt, and you begin to resent people who hurt you this way. And when you feel like there's a group of people who hurt you, you feel like the victim. Now, what tends to happen when you feel like there's a group of people who hurt you? Well, an eye for an eye. You begin to justify now, since they hurt you, that means you could hurt them. And you'll become a defensive person who just comes across as too aggressive to other people. There's a lot of people who come across who really look like assholes, but in reality, those are just people pleasers, people who try to win people over, but just been rejected and failed at it. And so those people will feel like victims. They will feel like they've been victimized, and so it'll justify their own attacks towards them. It'll justify their own defensive mechanism, and sometimes those attacks are real and physical, right? We've seen it before. But most of these counterattacks that people give towards people who they feel like hurt them are psychological, where they put up defenses to not get hurt, but also to attack people because they feel like they've been attacked. And so those are the people that become the assholes. Those are the people who become the bitter people. The people who play people because they feel like they're being played by other people. The people who just literally try to fuck with you, and you're like, why are you trying to hurt me? Well, the problem with that person is that most likely you represent somebody who they try to win over in the past, but they've been rejected. So they're projecting their own anger, their own resentment towards other people on you. And you feel like you didn't do nothing to deserve it. And you didn't. You're just interacting with someone who's been bitter, like something that's been fermented and it becomes alcoholic. This is somebody who's been fermented to hate, fermented to resent. And this is a potential end game for people who try to win everyone over, because you will be disappointed and you will feel resentful because you gave and you didn't get in return, and you feel justified to get back. And one of the ways that people get back is by hurting people, is by giving the pain that they've received from other people. And this is a cycle that becomes perpetuated. And this is why some evil people, this is why people say this, the villain story. Yeah, villain story, the origin story. People who are people pleasers, usually when they get hurt and rejected, lash out. They lash out in pain. They try to hurt the people who hurt them back. And it's kind of sad. You know what I'm saying? But this is your destiny if you do this. This was me, honestly, people. Like, I remember people telling me I came across as too harsh, too strong, you know? Like, I came across as too aggressive. And the truth is that I just been hurt as when I was younger. Very disappointed in my relationships. And I feel like women played me when I was young. And and society just doesn't have a sense of empathy for men who been rejected by women because they say, oh, that's just them being entitled. And it's like, no, you don't have a dick. You don't know what we're talking about, motherfucker. Like, it's like, it's very easy that if you're not the most attractive person to receive the cold shoulder from women a lot and just get rejected. And you can see how that happens to women also, where a lot of women just want to date the most attractive guys, but those are the biggest assholes because they feel entitled. And they don't even and they don't even try to please you, and you try to please them. They don't give anything in return. You feel resentful, and now you build up a defensive mechanism where you start seeing that same scenario in every other situation, in every other man, where you see every man as an asshole. And that's because you just try to please everyone. You just try to win every guy over, and that's why I tell you, don't try that. Don't develop those negative habits, because those habits will backfire. Those habits will sabotage you, and that just creates within you your own worst enemy, which is yourself. So the solution to all of this is just to give people space. Give them space and don't suffocate them with your presence, because when you're a people pleaser, one of the fundamental things that you believe as somebody who tries to win everyone over is that if you don't pay attention to them, they're gonna forget you. That if you're not there, they're gonna forget you. If you don't talk, you're not gonna be heard. If you don't fight for them, you're not gonna be missed. And that just comes from a place of insecurity, from a place of rejection, from internalizing the past, from projecting your own insecurities onto other people. Because what that does actually is that it pushes people away. It makes people resent your presence. Robert Greene And so applying this strategy is very scary for some people, simply because of their fundamental belief that their absence will cause people to forget them, will cause people to not remember them. And the most beautiful thing about all of this is that if you actually give it a try, you might be surprised. You'll be shocked how much people actually like you more because you gave them space.
Too much circulation makes the price go down. The more you are seen and heard from, the more common you appear. If you are already established in a group, temporary withdrawal from it will make you more talked about, even more admired. You must learn when to leave, create value through scarcity.
Right? How much people appreciate you more because you gave them space. But before you get the reaps of those actions, before you reap the work of your labor, you're gonna have to be in a state of fear, because you're gonna fear that what I'm telling you doesn't work. Because it's your whole body's gonna feel like it's gonna lose people who they love, because you're not giving them all the attention. Take a risk. Do the complete opposite. Whenever things are not going right, do the complete opposite. Stop trying to please people. Speak up for yourself. Stand up for bullshit. See yourself as a child who's been bullied, and also see yourself as a parent who doesn't want their child being bullied. And stand up for yourself. And develop self-respect through developing a meditation practice. A lot of people think that self-respect is aggression towards others. Self-respect is compassion towards yourself. Self-respect is understanding your own pain, understanding yourself, and not allowing yourself to commit acts of violence, to talk negatively to yourself, to stand the presence of people who don't value you the way you feel like you deserve to be valued. All right? So if you have people that don't like you, that don't respect your time, that seem to take you for granted, walk away from them. Take the risk of being alone. Learn to be alone. Because I feel like not wanting to be alone is the foundation of why you're a people pleaser. It's just that simple, people. If you learn to be alone and enjoy being alone through developing a meditation practice, a lot of the times the trying to win everyone over habit goes away on its own, because what you really feared was being alone, and it was being rejected. You know, I feel compassion for people, man. I really do, because I'm that type of person. I really am. I'm somebody that easily gets hurt. I'm somebody that likes to be liked and doesn't like to be disliked, and I can sense those vibes very easily. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten better at it. I've gotten better at being alone, and I noticed that it really changes the way people. It really has fundamentally changed my relationships with myself, but also with the people in my life. People are just nicer to me, I notice. People see me as a more likable person. And the reason why that is because I now don't accept inconsistency. And it doesn't come from a place of, oh, I'm going to manipulate you to be consistent. No, it just comes from a place of honesty in my part, where I'm open to you. I tell you that I like you. I'm open to you hurting me, right? But I'm also not open to your bullshit from a loving place. And people can sense that strength. It's not an aggressive, defensive strength. It's a relaxed, good-natured type of strength. Because a lot of people develop strength that comes across as aggressive and too defensive, you know? And even if you're right about what you're trying to stand up for, you might do it in a way that turns people off. And what turns people off is just too much defensiveness. You're afraid. It's like a cat who you're trying to help, but you think you're trying to hurt it. It thinks that you're trying to hurt it, so it doesn't receive any help. And in fact, it becomes the aggressor. A lot of people are like that. They're afraid animals who've been hurt and traumatized. And what you got to do is not get people to like you, but to heal within yourself. And the way you do that is through developing a meditation practice, people. All right. So you can either go to Vipassana retreats, go to dharma.org, 10-day silent retreats, purchase my course, Emotional Mastery, or read the book, The Power of Now. Those are the resources that I could recommend. And another thing is that if you hang around people who fundamentally don't like you, what would happen is that states are infectious, right? States are things that can infect people. And if they think that you're not better than them, if they think that you're below them, that you're a peon, by you trying to hang around them, you might internalize the way they see you, right? Because you gotta understand, people who look down on people, they're really just projecting. They look down on themselves, and so they look down on you to feel better about themselves. But what happens is that by you trying to please people who look down on you, you just internalize their belief about you. And it's almost like you download a virus of their minds onto your mind, and you'll begin to look down on yourself. And one of the things about victims who have low self-esteem is that you're eventually going to do that to somebody else. And that cycle will be perpetuated. And the way you end that cycle a lot of times is perpetuated onto our children, and usually onto the family and friends that we have in our lives. And the way that you break that cycle is through ending them. Stop trying to please everyone, because that does affect your kids. That affects you.
You can die from someone else's misery. Emotional states are as infectious as diseases. You may feel you are helping the drowning man, but you are only precipitating your own disaster. The unfortunate sometimes draw misfortune on themselves. They will also draw it on you. Associate with the happy and fortunate instead.
In other words, hang around those people who are happy to be around you, and avoid people who are not happy to be around you. And the way you know that is the way that they treat you. All right. Stop trying to win everyone over, people. If somebody doesn't like you, tell them to go F themselves. Wish them well with compassion and just move on. Don't take rejection personally, and realize that the true source of happiness comes from within you. If you develop a meditation practice and you start to realize that there's an ecosystem of positive emotions inside of you, you'll notice that actually attracts people in your life rather than trying to attract them directly. Attract them through your own happiness and your own satisfaction and your own enjoyment of your own presence. All right? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys ever want to work with me one-on-one, go to mindfulattraction.org. Don't forget, we're having 20% off all of our coaching call in December, and 50% off all of our courses using the coupon code Friday or Black. Yeah, Friday or Black, doesn't matter. All right, take care. See you later.